Okay, so on the Japanese eShop a few days ago, Namco released a demo of the upcoming remasters of Klonoa 1 and 2. Some time ago, I actually uploaded my initial reaction to the game's announcement. Don't be misled.
Oh yes! Klonoa!
To say I was excited would be the understatement of a lifetime. In the description, I said that a proper discussion video would follow shortly after, and here we are? Seeing as we're getting closer and closer to the game's release proper, this will be part 1 of 2 of a review of the original duology that made up this cult classic series. After making a Japanese account and waiting an hour and a half because my Wi-Fi hates me, here are my thoughts on the technical aspects of the Klonoa Phantasy Reverie series. Something worth keeping in mind from the get-go is that I played this on the Nintendo Switch, as well as the fact that demos actually take a minute to be put together. Typically, aspects of the game itself have to be stripped, with proverbial firewalls put in place to axe players from accessing other parts of the game. Resultingly, I'm certain builds, if not even that early, have to be used as a base. This is all to say that some of the things I'll discuss here may or may not be present in the final version of the game. First and foremostly, these two games are mostly the same as their original counterparts, but with numerous assets rebuilt from the ground up. For one, you've got these improved textures, rounded out geometry, built upon lighting, and new models. Seemingly like most remasters these days, some of the newer lighting techniques may come at the cost of omitting others originally done to save on resources, like intentional color palette changes to mimic atmospheric lighting, or the pseudo-cell shading done in the case of Klonoa 2. It's a super preferential thing when it comes to which version one may prefer. So, starting off with Door to Phantomile, it's no secret at this point that this game's version is using the Wii remake as a base. All things considered, I don't have a problem with this at all. I mean, why fix what wasn't broken? Especially with the bevy of other changes made here, I think this might end up being the prettiest version of the game. In said Wii version, all the characters receive drastic design overhauls that I've always felt would have best worked elsewhere. Minus Joka and apparently Gaudius for 2 sets of reasons I'll get to in a second, I actually didn't mind any of these, especially not when it came to Hupo, whose human form desperately needed it. Something that did bother me, however, was the revised script that for no reason took a lot of Klonoa's agency away. Also, they called Joka Joker. Actually, on that, for the 2 redesigns that just really did not work, there was Joka with those odd black limb things that never looked right with me. Not even when I first played the Wii-make, which I'll be calling from here on out, which was the first version that I played. For Gaudius, who I thought I was fine with, Phantasy Reverie would just throw that completely out of the window by giving the man actual teeth. Never did I know how much I needed something until I actually had it. For Klonoa, I've always liked the outfit, but I've always felt it just took away from the cuteness factor that he was clearly supposed to have here. This isn't to say I'm not big on him being cool, but again, this just was not the place. Not yet. Anyway, as you can all see here, Phantasy Reverie brings back all of the original designs, while making slight adjustments here and there. Klonoa, for one, now has the cat eyes again, Hupo has hands, Joka has no limbs, and so on and so forth. The adjustments that they gave to the designs, regardless, are interesting to say the absolute least. To list out all the ones that I've noticed, Klonoa's ears have these extra textured tufts on them. His hat isn't polygonal anymore, but instead have a few ridge things on them to somewhat resemble the look. Honestly, that doesn't bother me nearly as much as it probably should. The change that honestly did take a while for me to get adjusted to, however, was the shape of his head. Because the Wii actually had 3D models and opted to use them, you can now see certain angles of the original design that probably weren't meant to be seen, like the bottom of his head and how that compares to his shoulders and overall torso. There's also the more realistic cat nose that took me an even longer time to get used to. Hupo, and man did this make me happy, is actually semi-transparent again. Originally something only present in the FMVs, this wasn't even something the Wii bothered to bring back. He's also got the ring beneath him again, which is equally as nice. He is supposed to be a spirit after all, or at least a false one, so this look much better fits that. Ghadius's head is actually detached from his body, which I'm certain was always supposed to be the case, so that's nice. Also nice molars, bro. Luffy's, now pink and much shorter again, now has lips. Zap! Okay, talking about the actual game itself, Klonoa Phantomile plays the same as it always has. Klonoa feels good to control, and all the abilities, minus the odd wind move from the Wii are all here. There's a much better contrast to everything on screen now, and everything is conveyed super clearly, so there's no uncertainty about whatever it is that you're doing. Because of it too, I started noticing cool little things added in the Wii, like this waterfall at the end of one of the cave segments. I did, however, notice bits of pop-in and background elements and the frame rate stuttering, albeit not by a whole lot. The timing of certain elements seems off too, like the title screen and the beginning of Balue's cutscene. Actually, on that, I'm not sure if this was something present in the Wii, but just before heading off, Klonoa actually waves to Balue, and he is so cute! I also really like the new HUD too. Shout out to the angels or whatever that appear occasionally on the level select menu that were added back in from the PS1 version. Don't know why I felt the need to mention that. As for Lunatea's Veil, you only get to play Lalakusha, but I definitely like what I'm seeing. The lighting bit I mentioned earlier actually applies here. In the cave segments of the original, the atmosphere was caked in darkness with these gluey mushrooms and whatever lighting up the place. There was this ambient feeling that made things feel mysterious, basically. The Phantasy Reverie version, however, is more lit up, implying that maybe there's a hole further up allowing light to hit the ground. I'll be honest and say that I definitely do prefer the originals, though this version doesn't by any means look bad. In fact, those bits aside, this level is genuinely gorgeous. The warmer colors present on the buildings, mountainside, and sky contrasting with the cooler leaves, grass, and surrounding fauna much better conveys the evening setting than the original. There's also a few extra details present on the geometry that really help bring out Lalakusha as a whole. Pretty sure the enemy and prop models have all received touch-ups as well, which I think are really nice. And sorry, but as a Sonic fan who's used to being disappointed, my sad mind couldn't help, but just check for one thing in case they took it out. Yeah! All in all, I'm actually extremely impressed with everything I've seen here. Given Monkey Craft's work with Katamari Reroll, I guess my expectations should have been set much higher, because this is going to be an extremely good way to either try out or replay through these two games. That, and if the supposed Game Boy Advance Online service ever surfaces, then I think the Klonoa series might actually be in good hands. At least should this game sell well. Next time, we'll be properly going through this game as a game. I want to be super comprehensive about these ones too, and really dig into why I admire this series as much as I do. Sorry this took so long to get out. Anyway, until next time, buy the game!